Happy Sabbath, dear listener. Let me take this opportunity to thank the Almighty God for giving us yet another Sabbath to rest whilst praising Him. This is Adventist World Radio, the voice of hope, and I am your presenter, Tilen Odhiambo. Stay tuned. It is our tradition here to do things a bit differently on Saturdays. Have in mind that this is the show for story lovers. Today we will listen to what prompted Adam to give into Eve's proposal and eat the forbidden fruit. Pastor Kigundu will then take over and launch a 3-part series on Money Talks. Keep it the voice of hope.
Somebody's knocking at your door. 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 Knocking at your door. Somebody's knocking at your door. Knocking at your door. Oh, sinner, why don't you answer? Somebody's knocking at your door. Knocks like Jesus. Somebody's knocking at your door. Knocks like Jesus, somebody's knocking at your door. Somebody's knocking at your door. Oh, sinner, why don't you answer? Somebody's knocking at your door. Can't you hear him? Somebody's knocking at your door. Can't you hear him? Somebody's knocking at your door. Oh, sinner, why don't you answer? Somebody's knocking at your door. Answer, Jesus. Somebody's knocking at your door. Answer, Jesus. Somebody's knocking at your door. Oh, sinner, why don't you answer? Somebody's knocking at your door. 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 Somebody's knocking at your door.
Hope you liked that song. Let us listen to how Eve managed to convince Adam to eat the forbidden fruit. Enjoy.
Adam?
Here, dear.
Adam? Oh, Adam, I just had the most wonderful experience. I talked to a serpent.
A one-sided conversation.
No, he talked to me too.
Well, Eve, what are you saying?
I talked to a serpent. He was in the branches of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
What?
He was eating some of the fruit, and he spoke to me. And Adam, he didn't die. Think of it. He was eating the forbidden fruit, and he didn't die. He told me that... Adam, what's the matter? You look ill.
Eve, Eve, what have you done?
Nothing. I just ate some of the fruit, that's all.
Eve, don't you realize that serpent is the adversary God warned us about?
Oh, Adam, he wasn't either. He was a serpent. He was a friend of God, not his enemy.
Yes, but he talked you into eating the fruit.
Oh, Adam, don't be so suspicious. The serpent told me the truth. We won't die if we eat the fruit. I've already eaten it and I'm not dead.
What?
In fact, Adam, I feel better than I did. I've entered into a higher phase of existence. Here, Adam, here's some of the fruit. You eat it too.
No, Eve, you've transgressed God's command. You'll die.
Die? Why, I have new life, new vitality, new happiness.
The deed is done now, Eve. You'll die, and I shall have to do without you. Oh, and I loved you so.
Oh, Adam, eat some of the fruit. Everything's going to be all right.
I do love God, and I'm grateful to him, and I want to be loyal to him, yet I'll lose you, and that I can't stand. You're part of me. I can't endure the thought of being separated from you. If you must die, I'll die with you. Give me that fruit.
Oh, Adam, now I know that you love me above all else. And I love you, Adam, more than ever before. Is it good?
Yes, it is good. I feel myself entering into a newer, better state.
That's exactly the way I felt. Wonderful, isn't it?
Yes.
I told you that's the way it would be, Adam. And the serpent told me. He's our friend, Adam.
Maybe he is, but maybe he... No, he's the adversary we were warned about. We've sinned. We will die.
Nonsense.
We've transgressed God's command. We have sinned, Eve. We must pay the penalty. Death.
But we're not dead.
Eve, feel the air. It's become chilly and cold.
Yes. Adam, what is it?
God has withdrawn his presence. We're on the road to death.
Adam, I'm afraid.
Well, you should have thought of that before you ate the fruit.
Do something, Adam. Do something.
Do what? There's nothing we can do. We're paying the penalty.
You got me into this. Now get me out.
Oh, I got you into this.
Yes, you shouldn't have let me go off alone by myself.
Let you go? I didn't let you go. You just went off without even telling me.
You did so.
I didn't even know you were gone. Eve, look, the covering of light has left us. Oh, and it's all your fault.
My fault?
Yes, yours. If you had had any sense, you would have stayed where you were told to, by my side.
You're yelling at me.
I'm yelling at you.
I hate you, Adam.
Oh, you hate me.
You're mean to me. I don't want anything more to do with you. I don't even want to see you.
You don't... Oh, Eve, we're quarreling.
Yes, you are quarreling, aren't you?
Who are you?
Ask Eve. She knows who I am, don't you, Eve?
Why don't you go away and leave us alone?
Leave you alone? Never. Not anymore. You are now my servant. I am your master.
Leave us alone. I command you, go away and leave us alone.
You command me. Let me tell you something, Adam. I am your master. When you ate of that fruit, you acknowledged my superiority, my sovereignty.
What?
Yes, by obeying me, you lost the dominion of this earth. I am now prince of this world. You will obey me.
Adam, I'm afraid.
Afraid, Eve, of me? Oh, no need to be afraid of me. I am your friend.
In the name of the Creator, leave this garden.
Don't you ever mention his name to me. I hate him. He and I had a war in heaven. He won that war, but I shall win the next war. Someday I shall sit upon his throne, ruling the universe. Then shall all creation bow down and worship me.
In the name of God, I command you, leave this garden.
I'll go, Adam. But I'll be back. Many times.
It's no use to cry, dear. We've sinned and we must pay the price.
Adam, look at this flower.
Huh?
It's fading. It isn't pretty like it was. What's happened to it?
It's dying, Eve.
Is that what death is? Mm-hmm. Must we wither and die like this flower?
Yes. We must pay the penalty of sin.
Hope you have not only been entertained by that story, but you have also learned one or two things from it. It is now time to thank those who have been sending us their views, comments, and suggestions. I encourage you to continue doing so or start sending them to the producer, Adventist World Radio, P.O. Box 42276, code 00100, Nairobi, Kenya. Our email address is awrnairobi@eau.adventist.org.
There were 99 that safely lay in the shelter of the fold, but one was out on the hills away, far off from the gates of away on mountains wild and bare, away from the tender shepherd's care, away from the tender shepherd's care. Thou hast here thy 99, are they not enough for thee? But the shepherd made answer, this of mine has wandered away from me. And although the road be rough and steep, I go to the desert to find my sheep. I go to the desert to find my sheep. Then all through the mountains thundering, and up from the rocky steep, there arose a glad cry to the gate of heaven, rejoice, I have found my sheep. And the angels echoed around the throne, rejoice, for the Lord brings back his own. Rejoice, for the Lord brings back his own.
From the previous sermons, we learned more about money issues from debts to saving. Today's segment will not be much different. Our speaker, Pastor Kigundu Ndwiga, will talk about money talks. Be educated.
Dear listener, I want to welcome you to our Biblical Stewardship series. We will talk about money again, and the title of our topic is Money Talks. I want us to look at a very interesting parable found in Luke 16, verse 1 up to 13. I will read. Jesus told his disciples there was a rich man whose manager was accused of wasting his possessions. So he called him in and asked him, "What is this I hear about you? Give an account of your management, because you cannot be manager any longer." The manager said to himself, "What shall I do now? My master is taking away my job. I am not strong enough to dig, and I am ashamed to beg. I know what I'll do so that when I lose my job here, people will welcome me into their houses. So he called in each of his master's debtors. Here's the first. How much money do you owe my master? Well, 800 gallons of olive oil, he replied. The manager told him, take your bill, sit down quickly, and make it 400. Then he said to the second, and you, how much do you owe? Well, 1,000 bushels of wheat, he replied. He told him, take your bill and make it 800. The master commended the dishonest manager because he had acted shrewdly. For the people of this world are more shrewd in dealing with their own kind than are the people of the light. I tell you, use worldly wealth to gain friends for yourselves, so that when it is gone, you will be welcomed into eternal dwellings. Verse 10, whoever can be trusted with little can also be trusted with much, and whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. So if you have not been trustworthy in handling worldly wealth, who will trust you with true riches? And if you have not been trustworthy with someone else's property, who will give you property of your own? That is how Jesus finished that parable. The story that we have just read begins with a scandal common to their society and ours. An employee is fired for wasting corporate funds. What is he to do? How is he to feed himself? Where would he live? So he put together a rather ingenious post-employment forced retirement plan. All he had to do was cause those who were indebted to his master to become indebted to him at no personal cost. If someone owed $100, he said, just give me half and we'll consider your account settled. Some theologians have told that of all the parables Jesus told, this is perhaps the most difficult one to interpret. For it appears that incompetence and dishonesty are rewarded here. Telling such a story seems so uncharacteristic of Jesus. Why would he tell such a story, one in which the values of the principal characters are obviously contrary to everything he had always stood for? It's shocking. Maybe just the thing we need to make sense of life is to be shocked into a higher level of awareness by the Lord himself. Now, there are two perplexing problems with this story. Number one, the employer commended the dishonest employee because he was shrewd. Verse 8. Number two, the story suggests that an unholy alliance with Mammon is a means of getting to heaven. Verse 9. Well, certainly we need to be clear. Jesus wouldn't encourage such a behavior. So what is the solution to these two problems? Christ was not the one who commended the unjust steward. Most Bible scholars agree he made use of a well-known occurrence to illustrate the lesson he desired to teach. Some Bible scholars have even suggested that this parable was told by Jesus as a joke, but not told for entertainment of his audience. It was rather an outrageous story with a very serious twist. By telling this larger-than-life parable, Jesus gained the attention of his listeners and held them through to the profound conclusions he draws in verse 10, 11, and 12. Now, there are three conclusions to this story. Number one, honesty is not just a series of good deeds that look good on your salvation resume, but an attitude that touches the whole life. The real test of character doesn't rest on the major moral decisions alone, but on the little things which seem inconsequential. Most people will be honest in the great obvious matters, especially if they think they are apt to be caught. According to Jesus, a Christian is honest in small matters that no one would ever bother to check. For example, one who would never think to steal a candy bar from a mini market would not be likely to commit grand theft. Whoever is faithful in small matters will be faithful in large ones. This was an especially important lesson the disciples needed to learn if they were going to be faithful followers and in later years advance the gospel around the world. Theirs would be a demanding job that would require nothing but the highest ethical and moral integrity if they hoped to be successful. But this was a message the publicans also needed to hear. Jesus realized that their employment brought them into great temptation. Many of them were guilty of usury and unscrupulous business practices. And those who are not already involved were surrounded by temptation to do so. There had been among the publicans just such a case as that represented in the parable, and in Christ's description, they recognized their own practices. From the picture of their own dishonest practice, many of them learned a lesson of spiritual truth. Now, number 2, if we are not honest in the way we handle false material wealth, we'll not be honest in the way we handle true spiritual wealth. And that is what verse 21 records. There is a man called Henry David Thoreau who said, money is not required to buy one necessity of the soul. So would you still be rich if you lost all your capital assets? In the world, personal worth, value, and success are mostly measured by how much property and goods one acquires. But according to Jesus, the true measure of wealth is how much would be worth if we lost all our worldly possessions. Not worth as regarded by the world, but worth as measured in heaven. If you had nothing to your name except life itself, would you still be wealthy in the things that are of true value, that is eternal value? Number 3. If we are not faithful with what belongs to another, we will not be faithful to what belongs to us. And that is recorded in verse 12. This concept is opposite to what most of us teach our children about caring for things. Most of us were taught at an early age that if we don't take care of our own toys, no one would trust us to handle someone else. But Jesus says it is faithfulness in handling someone else's property that qualifies us to handle our own. There is a profound truth here, especially as it relates to the doctrine and the principle of stewardship. Every one of us started out with what belongs to another, not what we received at birth from our parents, nor the earthly goods that we have acquired by any other source or benefactor. What we have is God's gift to us. This is true whether or not we believe it or consciously acknowledge it. All of what we have is God's gift to us. Without God, we would have nothing to call our own. Equally as important to understand is that what we do with what we have is our gift to God. Now that is important. What we do with what we have is our gift to God. So what can we say in conclusion? The message is very clear. Someday God will call for an audit. There is nothing to fear if our books are in order. We have God's promise that if we have been faithful in handling what belongs to Him, He will entrust us with that which will last for eternity. Peter describes what we receive from Him as an inheritance that can never perish, spoil, or fade. It is kept in heaven for us. In this parable, Jesus presses the issue beyond bare honesty to faithfulness. He says, if you haven't been faithful to what belongs to someone else, who will give you what belongs to you? The fact that we have not robbed someone of his property doesn't gain us any points when the master calls for a full accounting. The issue is even greater than whether we have tithed all that God has placed in your hands, which, though it is important, God makes clear. The central issue in this parable is deeper than how we can manage possessions. The bottom line is when the true owner of these short-term loans audits our books, he will ask but one question: have you been faithful? Dear listener, my prayer is on that day, may each of us be able to give a positive answer then, because of the lives we live by His grace and the choice we make now. At the core of what Jesus says, here is the unshakable fact that everything we have at this moment, we hold in trust for God, the true owner of all things. Everything, dear listener, belongs to God. You and I are just but stewards. Let's be faithful.
Hope we have made your Sabbath entertaining and educative. Thank you for tuning in. In case of any views, comments, or suggestion about the program, do send them to the producer, Adventist World Radio, P.O. Box 42276, code 00100, Nairobi, Kenya. Our email address is awrnairobi@eau.adventist.org. On behalf of those who worked to ensure the success of this, we say thank you and wish you a blessed Sabbath. Stay tuned to the Adventist World Radio. I have been your host, Tilen Odhiambo.